Hi everybody, it's nice to see you again. So in the last video, I showed you about printmaking. I showed you how to do leaves, transfer leaves using markers and leaves and how to get your print. And I showed you an artist named Andy Warhol, and this is his very well-known prints of Marilyn Monroe. So today I want to show you another printmaking process, and this time we're going to be using styrofoam or cardboard, and I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. And I have another artwork by Andy Warhol that I'd like to show you. So this is another image by Andy Warhol. It's also done by Silkscreen, and he made these Campbell soup can series back in 1962. And this is pretty much what the soup can would have looked like if you went to the supermarket back in 1962. He found art in the world all around him, and he thought, hey, there's no reason that a Campbell soup can and all of the people that went into thinking about the design of that shouldn't hang up in a gallery as well. So he turned just an everyday item into a really famous work of art. And I want to show you a picture of Andy Warhol in his studio back in the 1960s, and you can see him actually creating one of his prints of the Campbell soup can. So again, the idea of the printmaking is he didn't make each one of these artworks individually. He made the design first, and then it could be printed over and over through this process, which you see him doing here. So today I want to show you about styrofoam printing, something that we can do at home. And if you don't have styrofoam, it can also be done on a food box. So I'm going to show you styrofoam, but I'll also show you how to do this just in case. So let's begin. Okay, so for this type of printmaking, you're going to want some type of styrofoam, either a styrofoam plate, or maybe it's styrofoam that came in food packaging, like on a vegetable tray or a meat tray. And obviously, if it's a meat tray, you want to clean it really well with soap and water and ask permission first before you cut anything up. But those are totally usable. And as I said, I will show you how to do it with the shiny side, the glossy side of a food box as well. You want some paper, markers of variety of colors, washable markers, not permanent markers, scissors, pencil, and a little bit of water. The goal is that we will be creating our template, our plate where we're going to have our design that we can then color in any of the colors we want and ink it up with marker and transfer it onto a paper. So the styrofoam is going to act as our template. Now, before we get too involved in the details of how to do this, let's talk a little bit about the choices that we might do for drawing, because that's our first step, planning what we want to print. So I made a few examples. I was using circle shaped because I cut out the center of my plate, and I really liked the circle idea. It was really inspiring to me. You don't have to use yours as a circle. You might be using a rectangle tray, and then you probably are going to stick with the rectangle. You can make a triangle. You can make an octagon, whatever background. But just keep in mind, you will see, if you color the whole thing, you will see the whole shape. If you choose only to color in if you choose only to color in the drawing part of it, the object, you could leave the background blank, and then it doesn't really matter what shape it is. So let's talk about what you might want to draw. Now, I really liked the food idea, again, inspired by the Campbell soup can by Andy Warhol, and foods are just fun, and also mine came from a plate, and if yours comes from a food tray, seemed pretty connected. Ice cream, pizza, whatever it is that you love is a great place to start. Or you could just think about one of your favorite drawings that you've already done, or your favorite doodle that you like to do. That could be a great opportunity. But one thing to keep in mind is we're working with lines. The idea of the relief printmaking, just like last time, is there's going to be lines that are going to be white, or whatever color your paper is, that are going to be the negative space, the lines that are not going to transfer. But most of it will become part of the artwork. But wherever you actually draw, that part gets indented into the styrofoam, and you won't be able to color that part. That part will become white, just like here, the spider webs lines. So you do want to think about your design in terms of not too many details, because the styrofoam can take some detail, but once you try and get tiny, it just becomes a mush and it will become frustrating. So you want to think about it somewhat wide, like I did with this and with the lines of the cone. They weren't too detailed, but it was just enough outlining, and just enough detail to give it a sense of what it is. Now here's an example actually that I tried. I was trying like some Zentangle basic doodles. I personally would want to try and work on this more because it's not quite what I had hoped for. And that's okay. I learned from it. I found certain things were becoming too wide, and it was a little too busy for my taste. But this could also be a way that you can divide your space into different areas and try different patterns. So that was something else that I did. And any of those, if you are into the Art Hub for Kids drawings, those draw along websites, if you like to do those, that could be a drawing that can become a print, that you can first sketch it out on paper with your pencil. You can follow along with the video if that's something that you want to do. And then you can follow along my instructions here of how to make it into a print. So now let me show you how to use the styrofoam and the markers and get going. If you want to do your drawing on paper first, that's great. And you want it to be a circle shape, as always, I try and find a circle about the shape that I want. So that way I have an idea of what it is, and I can't draw a circle very well by myself. So let's say I want to draw a pizza. Now I can just kind of go, pizza is 8 slices, so I'm going to just go like this, and I'm going to want it. I'm not doing perfectly, but you could do it exactly how you want it. I want a bit of a crust, and then I'm going to do some toppings. So now that I have my drawing ready, I can transfer it onto my styrofoam plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you with doing it from the pencil and show you how to draw straight on. So first I'm going to mark off my lines like this with the pencil, and I'm going to have to go back in afterwards with my pencil here, because you probably can't see, but it's just light. But at least now I have the general sense of what I want, and I could go in for the whole drawing, trace the whole thing, and then go back in here. So I'm going to now go in with my pencil to make those deep lines. But I also want to show you, let's say I want to just plan it out lightly with my marker here. I can erase, I'm going to show you something like this. Just quickly. Oh no, that's not how far I want it to go, and that's a little confusing. I can actually erase it with my wet paper towel and wipe it away. So you can make your mistakes on here without even drawing it on something else first. And once I'm pretty satisfied with it, I take my pencil and just press not too hard that you crack the whole thing all the way through, just hard enough that it is making a line that you can see, because that means when you transfer it, it will be a nice clear white line. Okay, so now that I have finished using my pencil to get in all of the lines, I've finished all the details that I'm going to do, I'm ready to ink it up with marker. So for this example, I'm just going to choose one color, so that way I can do it really quickly to show you. But you can choose to do it just like with the ice cream. You can choose to do different parts in different colors. Now, I personally always like to do my first one just in one color, just to see what it looks like quickly, and then I can always change it. So I am going to just do the whole thing in one color. Covered in one layer. I might actually want to go back in and maybe turn directions and do it a second layer to get it, make sure I haven't missed any of the areas. I often like to give it another. And I want to point out, I am working on a scrap piece of paper, so that way I can make sure I go all the way to the edges, that I don't miss any edge. And of course that I don't get my working area dirty, because at home especially, who knows where we're working. So now we have it inked. We're ready to transfer. So before we turn it over onto our paper, we take a paper towel and some water, and not too wet. We are going to wet our paper enough that it will help get all of that beautiful color onto our paper. And then I choose where I want to put it. And I'm going to need to transfer. Now, in order to make sure I've done it up, we want to massage it and making sure we're covering the whole area. And I like to use this part of my hand because it's wider. And make sure I cover all of the area a little more evenly. And if you think you've done it enough, do it a little more just to make sure you haven't missed anywhere, because it can be frustrating when you pick it up and you realize you've missed a spot, although you can always go back down and try and fix it. Ta-da! So as you see, it could be that part of it didn't have enough marker, or maybe I didn't push up enough, or maybe there wasn't enough water there, all sorts of things. But that's why I like to just try it quickly. But I get a general sense, and then I can also choose the colors. Next one, I'm going to choose a variety of colors. I could wash it off in between, and sometimes I might choose to do that if I'm doing such a different color, but I actually like seeing some of the layers. So I'm going to quickly ink this up, and I will show you what results. Okay, so I've inked this one up, and I'm ready to transfer it onto my paper. So the first thing I do is I make sure to wet my paper. Not drippy, but wet enough. And I'm going to flip it over where I want it and massage. So I've gone over it several times with my fingers, and I should be hopefully ready to flip it over, and let's see what we got. Ta-da! See, my second one definitely came out better than my first. Part of that, I think, is that the red marker was a little bit drying up. So I switched my red markers, and I realized how important it was really to make sure to get a nice bright layer. If it's not coming up very bright on your Styrofoam, your marker might be a little bit dry. And also sometimes I flip my marker around. I'm using this side, and then I'll use that side because it dries up a little bit. But you will see some prints come out better than other, and there we go. So what if you don't have Styrofoam that you can use? Well, as I said, you can use cardboard, but you want to make sure that you're using the shiny side, the glossy side, and not the brown cardboard side. The reason is that this, if you color on with your marker, it can be washed off and it can transfer. If you color on this, it will just stay put. So because most of our glossy cardboard has pictures on it, it's really going to be hard to just draw straight on it. So I recommend for sure drawing out your idea first. I'm going to put it, my shiny side up, put my paper on top, and I'm going to trace my drawing onto the cardboard. And I will probably have to go back in afterwards a little bit deeper. I've drawn it all this way, and I've gone back in and tried to go a little deeper with my pencil here. I am ready to give it a try. So I'm going to just do this in one color, and I'm not going to worry too much about covering the whole area. You could cut this out to the shape that you want, but I just am going to do this in one color quickly. And I'm actually going to change my color because that one's drying up to just see how it comes out. Because again, if any of the lines aren't deep enough, I could always go back in afterwards for my next print and do some touch-ups and make my lines a little bit deeper wherever I don't think that they came out clearly enough. So let's give this a try. I take my paper towel, I give it a nice wipe down on my paper, and take my inked plate, do the same rubbing. Making sure to go all the way around, and let's see. And it worked. Now I didn't do a very careful inking job, but the lines came through. And if I had better marker cover there, you'd see the picture better. So there you go. You don't need styrofoam. So here we are. We've learned a printmaking technique using styrofoam and markers. Or if you don't have styrofoam, you can use the glossy, the shiny cardboard from your kitchen. And if you do a nicer job, it can come out looking nice too. Maybe you'll make a menu. You can make a whole family menu, and maybe you'll even help cook it too. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you have a great week. I miss you. I'm thinking about you. I love seeing your artwork. I hope you're doing well. Bye.